Hey everybody, for clarification, Ken went on 25 gay cruises, but went on a total of 45 gay organized travel groups. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Josh, and today I actually, as you know, I've been on a gay cruise. This is my fifth, and on this trip I went to my friend Billy's owner suite party, and I got to meet Ken here, and this interview is all about Ken. I don't think it's very often you meet another gay man who's been on 45 gay cruises, and so the purpose of this is to kind of hear about your 45 cruises, like from going from the first cruise all the way till today. Like, you know, you've done it's gay history, and I think people need to hear what it was like then. Like, this Ken from San Diego, and I talked him into doing this, so. I'm going to lead it. Tell us, like, your very first cruise. Tell us back in 1998, you said, right?
Well, the first cruise was RSVP in 1990 that I did.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing business before the cruise ship boom.
Yeah.
So the reputation was little old ladies with blue hair playing shuffleboard if they were the most agile. Otherwise, they were just playing bingo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I did those for a few years. Atlantis wound up just going from doing Club Med to doing cruises in '98, the same year that RSVP started doing land trips.
Yeah.
So the 45 includes just about everything, and it's a rough estimate.
So
I don't have all of these.
So, oh, by the way, what I realized is we were in owner suite, and every year they give you these dog tags. So a lot of people save them. I didn't save mine, unfortunately. But I looked down and I said, "Holy, you know what the next word was?" And I was like, "My God!" And then I realized he did 45. It's a lot.
So it's about 15 Atlantis cruises and about 10 RSVP cruises, and the rest were land trips.
So the very first, the very first cruise you got on, like when you boarded, how different was that boarding process for gay people back then till today? Because back in 1998, going on a gay cruise was new, right? It was a new thing.
Well, RSVP had probably been in business for over 10 years at that point.
Oh, okay.
So my first RSVP was a small ship. I think we had 500 passengers, and that was a lot of people. And actually, I think we all had the opening mixer, opening afternoon. I think we all felt like kids in a candy store, even though we'd all been to Gay Pride before and everything. So still, we were going to be a whole week, together.
Did they have as many parties as we have today? Like, was there like the tea dance? Was there celebrities on board? Was there?
I think, pretty much.
Pretty much. Okay, so it's the same for the last 20 years. It's been the same kind of thing. You get on the ship. There's a pool event. There's an afternoon tea party. There's dinner or show, and then the evening, all you can dance evening.
Not necessarily all on every day, but the Atlantis signature event is the white party, and RSVP had costume party.
Yeah, and this, for those of you watching this who's never been on a gay cruise, and you're like, what's RSVP? RSVP was the competitor. Well, actually, Atlantis was a new startup competitor to RSVP, and then Atlantis consumed by purchasing RSVP because their ships became more popular. Would that be a fair assessment?
Right.
Yeah. And so at least the perception I had of RSVP was a tamer version of Atlantis.
Yeah, a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of the way things began. Before there were cruise ships and everybody was taking them, so cruising was considered to be a sedentary, older crowd. People have been on a lot more trips than I have. Yeah. Used to still show up on RSVP, and I know I've done there were a few years I did every trip that was offered from both companies.
Yeah.
But there were other people who did that for many years.
Yeah.
in a row, especially if they were retired already.
Yeah.
But when I started doing this, I was a twink, and now I'm a granddad.
And let's get into that, because you're an older gay male, and I'm a middle-aged gay male, and a lot of people have this ideal that these cruises are just a bunch of hot guys, perfect bodies, and it's one young group. And my experience has been it's all different types of people, from young to old to super in shape to not super in shape. Would you feel like that's a fair?
Yeah, it's a good cross section. There's guys in their 20s here, and there's some guys I'm going to say in their 80s here too.
Yeah, and trust me, those guys in their 80s,
they get around.
They go to the white party. they do. Yeah. So another rumor is that gay cruises are just one big sauna on the water.
You know, and like anything else, it's what you want it to be. What you get out of it is what your takeaway is. So if that's what you came for, then you can find that.
Yeah.
And if you want to just sit on the deck and read a book with a blanket up to your waist, and not interact with people, then you can do that too. And some people are happy just having that activity around them and not, and more in that crowd.
Yeah. Now, I think there's a huge difference between 1998 and today. And one of the biggest differences I would suspect was that in 1998, you went on a ship, there was no internet package, we didn't have smartphones. And I feel like, because I grew up in two generations of gays. One that when you went to a bar, you had to write somebody's phone number on a pencil and paper, and that's the way if you didn't go to them that evening, you weren't meeting them. It felt like, I would almost feel like the parties might have always been more busy back then because there was no other way to meet people unless you went out to the dance deck, compared to today where people can sit in their staterooms and be on a social media app and not have to go out. They can meet people on the ship on like Grindr, Tinder, Manhunt. Do you feel like you would know? Because I only started in this is my 5th cruise, your 45th cruise. And back then, do you feel that people were just more social, or do you think they're more social today? Like when you get on a ship, do you think that the gay community has changed in that aspect?
Well, just like the rest of the society, it's hard to get people to stop looking at their phones and they go to dinner with someone and they're not present because they're constantly on their phones. Yeah. So that's a mix of people who just want to interact and participate in other people who
that's true.
Yeah.
I can't, and I have not seen Ken on his phone one time, by the way. I don't know if you brought it.
It's turned off.
Is it? Why don't you tell people about your favorite moment on Do you have a favorite moment on one of these trips that you're like, oh yeah, I wish I could have relived that moment again? Or
well, it's not necessarily one favorite moment, just overall, it's just such a nice experience. And making friends and meeting friends and reunions every year. If my friends didn't come, Bill and Toby, then I wouldn't have come this year.
And for those of you, Bill and Toby, this is their 10th cruise together. And Bill, who's behind the camera right now, who's not showing his pretty face, this is his 13th cruise. And then Ben, who's also behind the camera, this is his first gay cruise, but he's only been on a straight cruise. So, and I've never been on a straight cruise, so I have no idea what that's like. But it's definitely. Do you have any? So you would definitely tell people after 45 cruises, it's for everybody, right? It's something that you make it what you want. You make this whatever you want it to be, because a lot of the gay community who's never been on one constantly thinks that this is this one big. I'm sorry, guys. You said ask me all the time. They think it's this one big orgy on the boat. It's not, right?
No, I mean, again, find what you're looking for, and it doesn't have to be any of that, or I guess you could be the whole week like that. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely, if you go on Atlantis cruise, or any gay cruise, I think Atlantis is the only one left, but you're gonna see some things that you would probably never see on another cruise, to say the least.
At least we all get to be free here.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. You get to be free. Yeah, there's no judgments on these ships, right?
Right. Be as affectionate with your significant others you want, and can't necessarily do that everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Out in the world.
Yeah. So if you're watching,
even now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. So if you're watching this, he's been on 45, and he's lived through the very first one. And back then, when you booked it, you had to obviously call them, right? There was no online. Was there online?
Well, in '98, when Atlantis started doing cruises, we were.
It was already online.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was a website.
Yeah. Okay. I think the website's still the same. Just kidding.
It's updated daily for availability.
Yeah. So the Atlantis cruises are really what you make of it. They're you can have dinners, you can go to a show, you can lose your nights in a dance floor. You're gonna see all aspects of the gay community, and it doesn't sound like from this interview that not much has changed over the 45 years as far as I'm learning. I thought maybe I was thinking that maybe people were more closeted, so they would be like nervous, or it wasn't as busy or as packed. But it sounds like these ships have always been pretty busy.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And that first ship that I was on on 1990 was actually, I think it was 800 passengers. And then the next year I did 2 weeks in a row, the same ports.
Yeah.
Same itinerary, just and stayed in the same room.
So if you're thinking about going on a gay cruise, you have 45 cruise experiences here, all gay. And it's what you make of it. And, not a lot's changed, I guess. So Rich Campbell does a great job on Atlantis, puts a good show on for everybody.
He and Tom started the company, and Rich has helmed all along, and definitely has got the formula down, knows what he's doing.
Yep. So
thanks, Rich.
Thanks. And if you're watching this, book one. Go on a gay cruise, for God's sakes. They're not what you think. They're a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy yourself, make new friends. I made a new friend on this trip here, Ken. I didn't know I was going to meet Ken. I didn't know I was going to meet somebody with 45 cruises under him. But he's a great guy, and book your trip. Get off your couch and get off your phone and book a trip.
That's the plan.
Anything else you want to share before we?
That I think we covered.
That's it.
A lot there.
All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the cruise, hopefully. Right? Don't go to deck 13 now. Bye.